He said, "If you want anything here, the devil can give it to you if you join him." Mansfield became one of the most popular and talked about actresses of the 1950s and 1960s. Her movies were replete with risque sex and immorality for her day.
I wasn't a stranger to permitting my bust to be photographed. I had already done that. Here's the Playboy issue, which shows the movie I was in, Promises, Promises. It showed just about everything that Jane Mansfield had to show.
Mansfield sold out to the principles of the Satanic Bible and expressed them in her films. LaVey says Jane was very proud of the fact that if she liked something enough, she would commit it to memory. At the time, the Satanic Bible was still in monograph form. Jane had pored over those pages until she knew most of it by heart.
10 females to each male, 10 females to each male.
Peter was absolutely brilliant on the first take.
Peter Sellers was a struggling actor whose career was on the rocks until he embraced demonic power. After selling his soul, he became the highest paid actor in Hollywood.
The second take, he was even better.
With 3 new Pink Panther adventures, all of which attained colossal box office success. Sellers, the has-been, was once again one of the world's highest paid performers.
Listen, Perry, do you sell beer here too?
Among other things, yes.
Peter Sellers admits that he was possessed by the very spirits the Bible forbids when he was acting in his performances. It's rather like being a medium and laying yourself wide open and saying, "I want a character to inhabit my body," or "I want a spirit to take charge of me so that I can produce what I hope to produce."
Well, I try and keep this young man happy.
Star Trek is a cultural icon, and it's part of the lexicon now.
Replete with New Age iconography, the Star Trek shows categorically deal with issues such as telekinesis, mental telepathy, atheism, psychic phenomena, channeling, mind transference, entities cohabiting the same body, and other occult themes and ideologies that were strung throughout the series. The creator of The Rage, Gene Roddenberry, is responsible for much of the current space age mania that has become ingrained within the culture today.
Star Trek's a way of life, man. It's a good way of life. It teaches us all.
Not surprisingly, Roddenberry had zero regard for Christ and was dead set on establishing a new age of thought that countered Scripture with his cinema creations. In fact, Roddenberry recalled his Christian upbringing with disdain. "I had never really paid much attention to the church sermon before. I was more interested in the deacon's daughter and what we might be doing between services. I listened to the sermon and I remember complete astonishment because what they were talking about were things that were just crazy." Roddenberry bought into the New Age lie that we could become gods and expressed these thoughts through characters and stories on his shows. Roddenberry said, "It's not the Judeo-Christian God. Creating Star Trek was a very spiritual experience. It's my world. It's that divinity in us that we call God."
Cosmic thoughts, gentlemen.
We were speculating. Is God really out there?
Maybe he's not out there, Bones. Maybe he's right here. You and her.
The storylines that made Roddenberry famous were in fact given to him in conduit fashion from the demonic kingdom. Recounting his role as a medium, he states, "What happens is that I bring them out into this world, the world of humanity, and they take their place among them, among us. But I don't think I create them. They already exist. I just introduce them. That's really where the whole idea of Star Trek came from. I'm just a vehicle, a transporter."
Dun, 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 dun. Well, I come from 6 feet under with a dead guy on my knee. I'm heading down to Hades for to spend eternity.
The sitcom Roseanne, starring the woman by the same name, was the nerve center for anti-Christian sentiment in the 1990s.
Even worse than you thought.
Well, what kind of crowd? He's not doing drugs, is he?
No. He's going to church.
Oh, God, no.
In her autobiography, My Lives, she spoke of leaving her body and communicating with voices from unseen beings.
"When I went away, I left my body completely and could hear other voices all around me chattering about how God would make me strong and how nobody could really get me. A spiritual message, really."
The voices that she heard were not from the God of the Bible.
The Ouija board wasn't sending me a message from the dead.
She has engaged in automatic writing. Roseanne writes of her channeling.
"It would all just come pouring out as if I were in a trance, and not until I reread it did I know what it was about. Sometimes it would scare me to read it because it seemed to belong to another place and time, and I would wonder, where did I get this?"
These demonic influences used Roseanne like a puppet to usher society into Crowley's New Age philosophies through her shows.
Oh my God!
It's not hard to connect the dots and see the common denominators that have worked through the lives of the Hollywood elite. The secular philosopher Socrates insightfully explained acting's essential spirit contact and possession. In like manner, the muse first of all inspires men, because they are inspired and possessed. They are simply inspired to utter that which the muse impels them. For not by art or knowledge do you say what you say, but by possession. Socrates had a common understanding of the demonic power utilized by actors. This muse, or giver of creative inspiration, as shown through Socrates' statements, has always been perceived as a spirit. Anton LaVey of the Church of Satan instructs his followers and clarifies this fact.
Keep yourself constantly open to the demons who will whisper in your ear. An old meaning of demon used to be closer to muse, a guiding, inspirational spirit.
The muses, or demons, are still at work today. Alexandra Rose, the co-producer for The Other Sister, championed actress Juliette Lewis's ability to be totally taken over. Of Lewis, Rose says this:
She just has that ability to transcend the reality of the moment and become the vessel for the muse. When she's acting, she is not Juliette Lewis. That to me is the sign of a really great actor. When you can let the muse take over, you look into their eyes and no one's home.
Kevin Bacon relates.
Part of acting is to lose yourself in the moment, to let the chaos or the muse come and just enter and happen organically.
Bacon also attributes his successful acting to
demons under the surface, and as an actor, you have to keep them bubbling.
The Matrix's Keanu Reeves, who talks of having taken what he calls demon rides, says,
"It's hard to act in the morning. The muse isn't even awake."
His series The Matrix is a hit with the youth and is filled with New Age preaching. Satan wants these philosophies to be presented in an acceptable light and is empowering Reeves to evangelize the children. Director Taylor Hackford revealed,
"Keanu is a very complex guy with lots of demons in him, and I was trying to tap and utilize that."
Back when people would have idols, what they would do is they would put those idols in the main room in their house, and they would center their furniture in their living room facing toward that idol because that's where people wanted their focus directed to. Oftentimes today, most of us have our furniture directed at what? The television set. And that in and of itself is not bad, but the question before God is, where's our heart? You know, the scripture says to love Him with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. That's His main thing. That's why He created us, to have a heart relationship with us. If we feel convicted of something, that we should live a certain way, are we really loving Him if we don't do it? You know, Jesus said, if you love me, obey my commandments. And then He said, why do you call me Lord, Lord, and not do the things that I say? So the very thing that we want to do is be a doer of what the Word of God says, or be a doer of our conviction, not just be a hearer only. Meryl Streep's uncanny ability to inflect true life accents and characters has completely astounded her viewers. As her co-star on the film Postcards from the Edge, MacLaine studied Streep's acting performances. MacLaine said,
or put another way, perhaps that is the true meaning of channeling. A channeler puts aside the conscious mind and surrenders to another identity. That's the phenomenon I saw in Meryl.
True to Crowley's instructions, River Phoenix sought out demonic possession in order to attain superstar status.
River saw a sign in turning 23. He'd started having bad dreams, that there were demons that he'd always dreamt about when he was a baby that were coming to take him away.
Phoenix admitted, I don't think I'm a very good actor. Everything is kind of tentative, and at a certain point you click in and you just feel the spirit move you. I think I can root out characters pretty well. I can be possessed pretty well.
Well, I've been an admirer of Aleister Crowley. I think that I'm carrying on much of the work that he started over 100 years ago, and I think the 60s themselves. You know, Crowley said, do what thou wilt, shall be the whole of the law.
As goddaughter of Timothy Leary, America's drug guru of the 1960s, Winona Ryder is familiar with moving people through enchantment. At her best, which is considerable, Ryder can light up a screen with the skill of a sorceress. So writes Rolling Stone magazine of Winona Ryder. Crediting her spirit guide for her cinematic exhibitions, Ryder states, my grandmother is still alive and has a lot of letters and pictures of relatives, and there's this one particular relative who was my age when she died. She was a violinist and an actor, and she looked like me. I have had this feeling for the last 8 years that she was there guiding me and helping me with my performances. Vin Diesel also seeks contact with the supernatural, having stated, I'm going to do my best to channel the character on a spiritual level. Golden Globe and Oscar award-winning Halle Berry also has spirit guides that empower her performances to be more convincing and alluring.
Oh.
Barry told Oprah how she was empowered to win her Golden Globe Award for her part in Dorothy Dandridge. Barry said, "There were many moments on the set when a sort of strange aura sort of took over, and not only me, but other people would say, they'd come up to me and they would say, 'She's with you today, I feel it.' And I often thought her spirit showed up to say thank you and to guide me."
As you honor me, who you really honor is the eminent Dorothy Dandridge.
Oftentimes, the most innocent can be the most dangerous and deceptive. Oprah Winfrey will never let her tens of millions plus fan base know that Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life, but regularly presents New Age deceptions and lies on her shows, which are transmitted to housewives and families around the globe. Her influence with her magazine, TV channel, and book club are staggering. Where does she obtain direction for her shows and enterprises? Time magazine gives us a frightening answer. Oprah Winfrey calls these her go-there moments. It is during these moments, usually while jogging the winding trails on her Indiana farm, that Winfrey becomes overwhelmed by the sense that old spirits are trying to get in touch with her. And it is during these moments that the woman who loves to talk stops dead in her tracks simply to listen. Winfrey says she has come to know each of them personally and calls them in at will to guide her in her work. Another celebrity many will be shocked to discover communicated with demonic spirits and even received movie scripts from them was Michael Landon. Of his dead father, Michael Landon stated, "I felt my father's presence with me, enlightening my memories. I really heard my father speaking to me from another dimension, filling my mind with just the right words. The story came so fast and was so right. In 3 days, the script was complete." While it is true that Michael Landon did present Christian principles in his shows like Highway to Heaven presented a touchy-feely New Age God that anyone could have a relationship with without knowing Christ like the scriptures clearly state. Jesus made it clear when he said, "I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me." Having endorsed on-screen homosexuality, spiritism, sexual immorality, and violence, to list a few, Leonardo DiCaprio believes himself to be a vessel put on earth for acting. Vessels are meant to be filled, and DiCaprio has opened himself up to evil spirits for this purpose. As Agnieszka Holland, DiCaprio's director in Total Eclipse, explains it, Leo's like a medium. He opens his body and his mind to receive messages coming from another person's life.
He's the new Leonardo DiCaprio. There's nobody like him, and he's like nobody. He's so special. He's a chameleon. He can do anything. It's shocking. I mean, he was just born to be an actor. It's the same way with Meryl. You see this and you're dazzled by their talent.
DiCaprio's director, Baz Luhrmann, stated that with Leo, you might see 30 people come out of him in a day.
Oh, what's this?
My poor Matilda. Don't be upset, don't cry. This is a bad dream. One day I'll wake up, love, Paul.
Nice, was it?
The average kid spends 28 hours a week in front of the television set, which translates into this, that by the time the average kid is 6 years old, he'll spend more time with the television set than he will with his father for his entire lifetime. Now, who has more influence? Because there's really no boundaries, no right and wrong. They're taught 24/7 that they can do what they want or live how they want. So it's so critical that we raise the kids, not these Hollywood insiders, not these people that decide what they should believe and not believe. It's critical that we set the bar for the kids and we instruct them the way the Lord would have us instruct them. Prior to becoming the leader of a cult, Charles Manson spent years digesting the drug-ridden and occult world of Haight-Ashbury and fancied himself as a movie producer. Manson was deeply worshipful of Satan and encouraged his family of followers to be as well.
Maybe I should have killed 400 or 500 people, then I would have felt better. Then when I felt like I really offered society something.
Convicted member of the Manson clan, Susan Atkins, said, in time, he was to call himself Satan and the devil sometimes.
Believe me, if I started murdering people, there'd be none of you left. There'd be none of you left. There'd be none of you left.
His followers were brainwashed into compliance. Using music and movies, Manson was able to get inside the heads of his followers and lay whatever foundation he wanted. Family members who resided with Manson at the movie ranch have described how Manson would play movies over and over all night long. These were used to indoctrinate and break down the inhibitions of his followers. One family member stated, the family had things where they'd show flicks. They were running 4 or 5 movies at once, playing tapes at the ranch. For movie screens, they hung up white sheets for these grim events. And the films shown seemed to have been reels of family happenings, music, the knife dance, lots of sex, but other films also. This set the stage for Manson to further twist their impressionable minds.
We are what you have made us. We were brought up on your TV. We were brought up watching Gunsmoke, Have Gun Will Travel, FBI, Combat. This guy you were looking to for, entertainment or whatever you want to call it, was killing all through the show. Every show we ever watched was all killing. All those old-time gangster movies where, it was all exciting. They were in the cars with the low hats on and they were cruising and they were shooting out the windows, or, it was all exciting. And we are what you made us.
Let us not forget that in TV we have the greatest instrument for mass persuasion in the history of the world.
An important thing to look at here is you look at someone like Madonna, who's very popular in the mainstream media, and Anton LaVey, the founder of the Church of Satan, who has definitely influenced the media on different levels. And both those people acknowledge the power of the media, and they know that it influences people, and that's where they make all their money. That's their bread and butter, is the media. So they know they're influencing all kinds of people. And they know that they're corrupting the culture, because when they were asked if their kids were allowed to watch TV, they said no. In fact, Madonna said that she thought MTV and television was poison. So now the question that's begged is, well, wait, why are these people that are so influential in the media, why will they not allow their kids to be corrupted, but be such prominent players in corrupting ours?
You put it out there, and hopefully they get it. I always like to think of it as like, I've got them sitting there, whip a little message at them, whip a little moral at them, whip a little of what my view of the world is, because that's what every good filmmaker does. And we'll lead the world into the 21st century, and I'll make a profit on their backs.
This constant barrage of TV propaganda has left an indelible impression on the youth of the world. In accord with Aleister Crowley's mandate for an army of youth whereby he could control the world, the demon-possessed and master propagandist Adolf Hitler declared that film was to be used for the education of the youth. Propaganda, also called mind raping by the Nazis, was aimed at brainwashing the youth and was so powerful that Hitler once bragged, they will never again be free for the rest of their lives.
Und wir möchten nun, dass ihr, deutsche Jungs und deutsche Mädchen,
Adolf Hitler opportunistically set the campaign for his occult agenda in motion by indoctrinating children at a very early age. In order to completely own the minds of the children, he created the Youth Film Hours, where it was mandatory to watch movie after movie that painted the Nazis in a positive light. These Youth Film Hours were so successful that they even replaced Sunday school. He outlined, "My program for educating youth is hard. Weakness must be hammered away. In my castles of the Teutonic Order, a youth will grow up before which the world will tremble. I want a brutal, domineering, fearless, cruel youth. Youth must be all that. It must bear pain. There must be nothing gentle about it. The free, splendid beast of prey must once again flash from his eyes. That is how I will eradicate thousands of years of human domestication. That is how I will create the new order." Coincidentally, the last troops to hold out against Allied forces in Berlin, Germany were armies comprised of the youth. Joseph Goebbels, the Minister of Enlightenment and Propaganda, had clear objectives for the Nazi filmmakers. "I kept impressing my people with one basic truth: repeat everything until the last, most stupid person has understood." How many movies and shows really say the same things over and over in different ways to us? That you can live as you want, be it free sex, drugs, exalting yourself above others. That life's problems can be worked out without God, or that there is no God.
Don't talk about right and wrong with me, man, because I just don't give a
It's easy to condemn the Nazi regime as barbaric, yet we are being duped in the same ways as they were by a regime that rejects God and exalts immorality.
It was and is America's first form of sex education.
You got it. Wanna make love to me?
Oh, yes. You leave your life outside the theater, go into that dark room, and it draws you closer to the person on screen.
Don't stop. Let's do it.
Get on your knees. There is a gorgeous woman on my bed.
You guys are gonna aren't you?
You have someone like that who's very sexually open, in fact, open.
I'm a horny girl, what can I say?
You like a little freedom or something? You want to dabble? We can all have sex together.
I am doing what I feel like doing. Well, what do you feel like doing? Orgy! Have an orgy! Orgy!
It never occurred to me that we could have sex with multiple people together and that, like, it would be okay.
Hollywood learned the basic lesson: when in doubt, go to sex.
People have this mistaken notion that the Hollywood system has
principles, morals, or values. It doesn't.
It doesn't.
I probably spent a month with hookers and pimps.
A prostitute is a woman who will give you a great deal for relatively little money.
Today, the movie industry, empowered with demonic force and authority, is shamelessly indoctrinating us with the same messages of carefully crafted immoral propaganda over and over.
And what classes are you?